Today is 247th day of the Russia-Ukraine war. My name is Vasil Samokhvalov. We are beginning the next briefing. Today we are talking to Yuri Zygnat, Speaker of the Air Force Command of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Welcome, Colonel. The rocket attacks by Russia have become more rare, but they are more massive. Over the last couple of days, we haven't seen any rocket attacks. What is the change in the tech by Russians? We have grown very quickly to something which is quiet. Let me remind you of the days on the 17th, 18th, 23rd, when we were attacked by the rocket assaults. There is no time for relaxation. The enemy sees that they are quite successful in ruining our civil infrastructure. Of course, they are changing their tactics. There seems to be a lack and shortage of rockets, and they have such allies as North Korea and Iran to supply to make up for these shortages. The Iskander rockets are something that they are at the level when they have almost expired them, and they are trying to get the replenishment from Iran. Other types of rockets, as of now, is a deficit equipment for the terrorist state. You see that they have been attacking us in only pinpointing on the critical infrastructure. As for the strategic military facilities, it's something that they don't seem to be interested in, but there is no time for relaxation again. As statistics show, they are attacking our electricity generating capacities, especially on the 10th of October when 84 rockets were launched, 55 the types X-55 and 101, the most expensive on their repertoire. They have been not sparing them. They also have enough rockets of the types X-22. We don't know the state of those rockets and how precise they are. Let us also remember that they seem to be having thousands of S-300 rockets, and they have a lot of those rockets, which is anti-aircraft missiles, and they seem to be in excess of those. The company, the manufacturer, has produced a lot of those, and they are attacking our areas near the border. They have undergone some handmade upgrade, and the range of those rockets is at the level of 150 kilometers. When they attack Zaporizhzhia, Mykolaiv, or Kharkiv, the level of precision drops down. Unfortunately, as a consequence is that the civilians suffer from those attacks. We saw the employment of IRIS rockets. The results seem to be impressive. When will we have NAMAS rockets deployed in Ukraine, and when we will see them work? You see, we haven't seen IRIS so far. We only report on the availability. This kind of information, including the combat operational situation, is not something that we will put in the public domain, but the results are available. And indeed, this is an up-to-date, complex, state-of-the-art rocket system. At every level possible, we are begging and asking to provide them, especially for Germany, to increase the manufacturing, for Ukraine to receive those systems as soon as possible. As for the NAMAS, the Secretary of Defense, Austin, has suggested something to the effect that they will be available in Ukraine. People are being trained now, but when the time comes for them to be deployed is something you will know in due time. But we will see the results, the combat results will be announced very soon, and hopefully they will be no less effective than the previous days. Yulia Gaida, I have two questions to you, Colonel. First is about Iranian drones. Have they decreased the use of the Ukrainian drones? Shall I voice my question one by one? We have seen the decrease. Why? We think that there has been a decrease, but over the last 24 hours we brought down about 24 drones. 2 days before there was a relative lull period, or 3 days ago. Prior to that, we saw 10 or 14 attacks. So they're using the waves of those attacks, not on everyday basis. There are some operational and strategic goals that they seem to pursue. And it is clear that they have been exhausted by our air defense systems. The enemy sees that we are effective. They're tracking down the effectiveness of the kamikaze drones. They know that we have learned a lot of tactics. That's why they use those waves of attacks during the night, somewhere about 2 o'clock in the morning, because the radars that they are using, or rather that we are using, allow us to track them down and bring them down. Now, of course, we are using anti-aircraft facilities, and the Western allies supplied some Gepard systems to us. You should remember that anti-aircraft systems don't have such a range of effectiveness as other systems do. But somewhere about this 13th of September, when the first Shahed kamikaze drone was brought down in Kharkiv region, until today we have seen more than 300 Iranian kamikaze drones brought down. There are other types of UAVs that they're using. We are also bringing them down. But these are, in general, the results. Why have we seen such a decrease that the attacks are not taking place on everyday basis? It has to do with the supplies, I think. We don't know how many of them they have, including Shahed 136 Iranian-made drones. Perhaps they were delivered through the Caspian Sea. We have heard something to the effect that Russia has ordered 2,400 of those. We don't know whether the Iranians are able to supply or to manufacture them in the volume that Russia asks for. So, indeed, the intensity of drone attacks has decreased. Second question, will Ukraine use drones to attack the enemy? And can we say that this will change the nature of the war? You know, the drone word is a generic term. When we say drones, we sometimes it means something different. Beginning with 2014, when Ukrainian volunteers have provided something of the UAVs, including the vehicles that help our artillery personnel. This is a very important segment of unmanned aviation, which is a part and parcel of our defense. We've got a number of different UAVs, Ukrainian-made, including kamikaze drones that have been supplied by our allies. We are also expecting Switchblade 300 that partners are likely to deliver to us. A couple of the sets of these assault drones 600 type, and they are very powerful. Characteristics are state of the art, and we hope that they will be used in Ukraine. Of course, unmanned aviation will be used. We have some Ukrainian developments here, but you know, we would like to live up to the situation when at different exhibitions we saw the new scientific developments, but unfortunately now we can only bank on the help coming from our Western allies. My last question has to do with the territory of Belarus. How many aircraft has Russia delivered to Belarus? You see, I have not been particularly focused on that problem. The command of the Ukrainian Air Force are in the know and have the full picture of the situation about Belarus, Russia, and occupied territories, and the points where the aviation is concentrated. For me personally, it's not that important where the aviation units are located. Aviation is a very mobile thing. They can swiftly switch from one airfield to another. As for the Belarus airfields, the Russian aviation has always been present, including helicopters and fighters and bombers. You might have heard that MiG-31 have been transferred to Belarus, but I mentioned this is a high mobility unit, and they are equipped with under their wings, they have the equipment capable of attacking targets hundreds of miles away, something that we have seen over the last 6 or 7 months when the Russian aviation doesn't cross the Ukrainian airspace but attack us from the territory of other countries. About 50 aircraft, including helicopters and fighters, are located in about 40 airfield. As for the 31 MiG equipped with the Kinzhal rockets, is this a rehearsal for a future action, or they're trying to figure out our weak spots in our air defense? To identify the weak spots, of course, they can use UAVs, Orlan 10, or the Iranian-made kamikaze drones. This is what they're trying to do. They're groping into our territory to see whether they can fly through or where they cannot. And this is a way for them to analyze the situation, take that information on board. But the Ukrainian air defense know how to counteract. As for the aircraft, such as MiG-31, that the Russians have equipped with the Kinzhal rocket, at the end of the day, it's not very important when they are located. We know the tactical characteristics of that rocket. This is an operational tactical air-based rocket, so that uses the ballistic trajectory and with the coming from stratosphere to surface from the high altitude with an immense speed, and we can be attacked by the Black Sea or the Sea of Azov. We have seen, my question is that the Ukrainian MLRSs have become more efficient. What's the secret here? It's an open secret. The secret is the bravery of our heroes. Everyone is anxious to destroy the enemy. We are all anxious to protect this country. And against that backdrop, the patriotism of our heroes, patriotism is something that we take for granted now, but we also are aware that what is very important is the general concordance between and among different units and types and services of the armed forces, including fighting capabilities and radio warfare, mobile groups, and we are tracking them, the enemy and their capabilities, to make sure that we have a full picture, a full awareness. If Shahed is coming in, and it's not that fast, but it is very difficult to track down, although those explosive drones can be tracked down. We know the sound of it. This is where we need maximum concentration and a lot of interaction. It comes with the expertise. We have heroes that have brought down 4 or more cruise missiles, and of course these heroes have saved a lot of lives. Thank you very much. We've been talking to Yuri Ignat, the spokesman for the Air Force Command, who's been talking about the Ukraine defense in the air. We will continue our work next week. Stay tuned.